I am concerned.
As all good community members, be a little more careful.
Very little research done on them. We don't know the impact.
I don't want the legacy to say 100 years from now, why didn't they do anything about it?
It's everywhere. It's what keeps our golf courses green, parks lush, and ski slopes white. We're talking about reclaimed wastewater.
It's a multi-step process the way we clean our wastewater.
That's Brad Hill, the utilities director at the Rio de Flag wastewater treatment plant in Flagstaff, where raw sewage is converted into the same water that keeps many of our parks in bloom.
Well, it starts as water from your shower, your sink, your toilet. It all gets collected into our sewer system, and then it goes to various treatment plants.
The end product? Reclaimed wastewater, which for the past year and a half has been used for snowmaking at the Arizona Snowbowl Ski Resort on the San Francisco Peaks. Marketing director Jason Stratton says the resort depends on it.
We've had 3 natural snowstorms in December, one that was 8 inches, one that was 29, one that was 11 inches. But however, those 3 storms combined wouldn't have been able to be enough for us to open.
It's the first ski resort in the entire world to use 100% reclaimed wastewater for snowmaking.
It really makes it so then we can actually ride the whole entire season instead of having to take the breaks and stuff throughout.
Despite this winter's record-breaking dry spell, Snowbowl was able to remain open, having a ripple effect on Arizona tourism, keeping visitors walking through the doors of local businesses. Chuck Graff, the senior hydrologist at the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, says boosting the economy isn't the only benefit.
Reuse of reclaimed water is a way of conserving water.
In the Phoenix area alone, 82% of the total treated wastewater is reused.
Most of the rest of the country does not realize the extent to which Arizona is already reusing its reclaimed water. I think it's shocking. I think it's astonishingly high.
90% of the nation's reuse of wastewater happens in just 4 states: California, Florida, Texas, and Arizona. Arizona has about 300 treatment plants, 60% of which reuse wastewater for public services. As water becomes more scarce, Arizona is leading the way in its effort to conserve resources by recycling wastewater. But there's a catch. While reclaimed wastewater looks a lot like tap water, it does contain unregulated chemicals that have some questioning whether it's as clean as it is clear.
These are the personal care products we use, the soaps that we use, the other types of compounds that we use that go down the sewer. A lot of these chemicals, there's very little research done on them. We don't know the impact. Utilities may be asked, what are you doing about these unregulated chemicals? A utility could say, we don't care. It's unregulated, we don't care.
The Environmental Protection Agency calls these chemicals contaminants of emerging concern, or CECs. According to the government agency, quote, the risk to human health and the environment associated with their presence, frequency of occurrence, or source may not be known. EPA is working to improve its understanding of a number of CECs.
In Arizona now, we're approaching almost 100 years of reusing reclaimed water. And there essentially hasn't been any really adverse effects from that use.
That's one opinion. Researchers at Northern Arizona University wanted more answers, so they put the chemicals to the test.
There needs to be more science behind it to better understand how the chemicals in the environment and how the chemicals in us are affecting long-term both environmental and human health.
Dr. Proper's research found that these chemicals did have an effect on the reproductive growth of amphibians she tested in the lab. As for its effect on people, that's still unknown.
If organisms that are raised in wastewater are having these effects, it would need to have a lot of research behind it, but it suggests that we want to look at what's going on in humans as well.
As for its effect on the peaks,
we just have no idea how that's going to impact the peaks.
Others disagree. Lee Guanusuma, the director of the Hopi Tribe Cultural Preservation Office, says 13 Native American tribes consider the San Francisco Peaks sacred land.
The Hopi say that the landscape and the earth, they hurt when things are being disturbed and the peaks here, which is the cradle of our lifeline, water, has been under attack for so many years.
After multiple legal actions against the U.S. Forest Service proved unsuccessful, only one tribe refused to back down.
The Hopi tribe was the only tribe that later pursued litigation, but this time against the city of Flagstaff in state court. We have the science now to argue that harm is in fact evident.
The controversy surrounding reclaimed wastewater extends beyond the San Francisco peaks, beyond the city limits of Flagstaff, even beyond the state of Arizona. As the nation becomes strapped for water and is forced to consider alternatives, a lot remains unknown. But for the arid Southwest, one thing is certain. Clean water isn't something to be taken for granted.